For years, Russia's MC-21 was dismissed as an aircraft that would never matter beyond its own borders.
Sanctions cut off Western engines and materials, making the program appear stalled and unsustainable.
Boeing and Airbus assumed the MC-21 would remain a domestic Russian aircraft, not a global competitor.
That assumption broke when a real, confirmed aircraft order suddenly appeared. This order mattered because it proved the aircraft could escape isolation.
Ordering a sanctioned aircraft goes against traditional Western aviation business logic.
But some buyers rely on state backing, alternative financing, and political alignment.
The real mistake was dismissing the aircraft before understanding how the market could change.
Meanwhile, Boeing and Airbus face massive backlogs and years-long delivery delays.
Even a small shift in future demand can disrupt long-term production planning.
One order sends a signal that risk is manageable, encouraging others to reconsider.
The MC-21 hasn't won the market, but it has changed the conversation.
From a Western perspective, the MC-21 story should have ended years ago.
Sanctions were expected to quietly bring the entire aircraft program to an end. Global supply chains were suddenly severed, almost overnight.
Imported composite materials disappeared from the MC-21 production process.
Western-built engines were no longer available for the aircraft.
On paper, the program suddenly looked unstable and unsustainable.
To outside observers, the project appeared frozen in time.
Inside Boeing and Airbus, a quiet consensus began to form.
Even if the MC-21 flew, it was expected to remain inside Russia.
The aircraft was seen as a domestic solution, not an export competitor.
There was no expectation of international customers or global relevance.
The MC-21 was excluded from serious competitive forecasts. It was never treated as a market disruptor.
Production plans continued, as if no alternative aircraft existed.
Long-term capacity decisions were made without considering the MC-21.
That assumption shaped how the entire market was understood.
For years, the aircraft was effectively dismissed. Which is exactly why a sudden order changed everything.
Because it challenged the belief that the aircraft no longer mattered.
Ordering a sanctioned aircraft is not a normal aviation business decision. There is no easy access to Western aircraft leasing companies.
Traditional aircraft financing channels are largely unavailable.
And there is no guaranteed path to global certification.
Under normal circumstances, these risks would stop any airline immediately. So the obvious question becomes, why would anyone take that risk?
The answer lies in a changing global aviation landscape.
Not all aircraft buyers rely on Western capital markets.
Some airlines operate with direct state backing instead of private financing.
For these operators, resale value through global lessors is less important.
Fleet decisions can be strategic, not purely commercial.
Political alignment increasingly influences aircraft purchasing decisions.
These buyers accept operational limits in exchange for independence.
The aircraft fits a very different operational philosophy.
This order did not come from the traditional aviation ecosystem.
It came from a parallel system, operating by different rules.
And that is why this order surprised the entire industry.
Boeing is already under pressure, with narrow-body production stretched far beyond original timelines.
Airbus faces similar constraints, with production rates pushed close to operational limits.
Together, Boeing and Airbus carry order backlogs stretching many years into the future. Some airlines are waiting close to a decade for new aircraft deliveries.
As delivery slots move right, alternatives become increasingly attractive.
This is where the MC-21 enters the conversation.
It does not need to replace Western aircraft to matter.
Even a small shift in demand can change long-term production balance. 5 or 10% redirected demand alters industrial planning.
Manufacturers rely on predictable demand to manage capacity and investment.
Unexpected competitors disrupt those calculations.
The MC-21 offers an option outside the traditional backlog system. Some operators value availability over global market acceptance.
For state-backed airlines, delivery certainty can outweigh brand preference.
This creates a parallel demand stream outside Western manufacturers. Boeing and Airbus cannot instantly increase output to block alternatives.
Production limits make even small competitors strategically relevant.
The aircraft's threat lies in timing, not dominance.
Over time, these decisions reshape market structure. The risk is not collapse, but gradual erosion of exclusivity. That is why this order represents more than a single sale.
It signals a shift in how future demand may be distributed. In aviation, one aircraft order is never just a single transaction.
Every order sends a signal far beyond the buyer and manufacturer.
This is how momentum begins in the aviation industry. Confidence spreads faster than official certification timelines.
Manufacturers respond as demand signals stabilize.
Supporting industries grow stronger with each confirmed order.
Meanwhile, traditional manufacturers start noticing demand leakage.
Street solutions. Forecast models must be adjusted, even if the shift seems small.
Invalidate. The industry slowly adapts to a more divided market structure.
It becomes one option among several, not an exception.
Over years, these decisions quietly reshape the market.
This is the domino effect Boeing and Airbus did not expect.
Not sudden disruption, but gradual normalization. And in aviation, normalization is often the most powerful force.